everybody, welcome back to my channel. My name is Kaylin and this is Full Purpose and Heart. And in this video, I'm going to be giving you guys an update as to our homeschool journey and kind of how things are going and some systems and processes that we've put into place to help kind of make our year a little bit more smooth. I believe we're about 25 weeks into our school year, and my last update video, we were like back in the teens. So I've missed a lot of weeks, but it's important that I share with you some of these changes that I've made to help kind of make our day more smooth. In case you're looking for something to kind of help switch up your school day, maybe this might be some ideas of something you can implement and try. So let's go ahead and get started. All right, so again, welcome to my homeschool room. We are in the dead of winter here on my side of the mountain. It's like a snowy, blizzardy day outside, so I apologize that my lighting's a little wonky, but we work with what we have. Anyway, so to get started, I have two homeschool students. If you are new to my channel, I have a second grader, and then I have a 4-year-old who is doing kindergarten work. I guess that's just the way of homeschool if you're new to homeschool, or of course new to my channel. My daughter started preschool when she was an infant, basically, because I was teaching preschool here in my home with the neighborhood kids, and she just kind of like saddled up with them pretty much since she was 1 year old. And so she's been in preschool for 3 years, and then when she turned 3, I just decided to start her as like a pre-kindergarten work. And now that we're into January, she's just a full-fledged kindergartner, and we decided to switch up our curriculum. So I really am catering to where she is academically and allowing her to just move at her pace. So that's been kind of a lot of fun, a huge benefit of homeschool, especially because she is a fall birthday. She doesn't even qualify for kindergarten for another 2 years. So I'm excited for her and just watching her learn. It's been a lot of fun. So make sure you check my description box below. I'm going to put a timestamp there when I move into her work and what she's doing, so you can, time jump over to that if that's what you want to listen to. But first and foremost, I want to talk to you guys about my systems that I've changed. We changed these systems back in the beginning of January because what I was doing before just seemed really clunky, and I needed something fresh. Not that it wasn't working, because the system that I was using before was working. I just knew that I needed something fresh to help keep my motivation up and help kind of breathe new life into our classroom. So I ended up going back to our work boxes. You can see them behind me. And I learned about work boxes from Christy Clover long time ago. Oh no, it wasn't Christy Clover. I learned them from Erica over at Confessions of a Homeschooler. And I did the work boxes back when my son was very first starting, and he was like in pre-kindergarten age and early kindergarten. And so I decided to go back to that system, even though I was a little nervous because I had a second grader and he had more subjects. I just decided I needed the fresh start. So that's what we decided to do. And instead of all of my students work in binders, I now have them in folders in various boxes. And I'm gonna show you all that here in just a second, starting with my second grader. But it's been a really great fresh change, and I do really enjoy it, and it's kind of smoothed out our school day just a tad. You can kind of see the corner of my board here. I do have my objectives board still going strong, and it is really helpful, especially the math section. As my second grader is learning his multiplication facts, I have all of just like the skip counting families up for whatever multiplication family he's working on. So right now he's doing 6s. You can kind of see it right here behind my rainbow things, but it helps him when he is going through those multiplication facts that he can then kind of count, just starting with 6, 12, 18, and it kind of it's been helping a lot. And then another thing that we changed in our classroom is we started to do looping, and I learned about looping from I can't remember her name, but I'm gonna put it down here. And there's just there's a lot of really great content on homeschool looping. And I'd heard the term before, it seemed really foreign to me, but after doing a lot of research, watching a lot of YouTube videos, I decided to implement it into my classroom, and it has made a world of difference. It's been so good. So now we do our core subjects every day, and which is just math and English. And then our other subjects, including art and language and science and history and reading and spelling, all of those are put on a loop, and we do them in the order that I put them in. So I'll talk more about looping in another video and how I kind of organized my loop. But in the meantime, just know that we're doing some looping now, and it's just been so refreshing and super nice. So those are some updates as to just our systems and processes and how we do our schoolwork. So let me tell you about my second grader. Curriculum-wise, everything is pretty much the same, and I still really have been very pleased with what I started at the beginning of the year. Our core subjects, like I mentioned, math and history. So for math, we're still doing BJU Press, and I love it. I love it so much. My son enjoys it. I think that it's a really good pace. I think that the lessons that you do through the distance learning, the teacher's name is Mrs. Gerald, and they're a perfect length. I think she talks to her students at a perfect level. It's not too young, it's not too old. She doesn't talk too slow or repeat the procedure too many times. I think it's been perfect. It's been a really, really great fit for my family. And if I could somehow figure out in my brain how I could do more subjects through BJU Press, I would. I'm a little bit nervous that too much computer content really kind of removes, I don't know, I just haven't ever done it before. So I'm afraid that it might remove my kids from me because now they're on the computer all the time. But in the same note, it's like there are just some subjects that I'm not giving the time that they need, and so I would love to have that. And that's why I did BJU Press in the beginning of the year, because during our first grade year, we had such a tumultuous time with the curriculum that I had chosen. Go back and watch those videos, last year's our Homeschool Live videos, and you can really feel that struggle that we had with our English curriculum and trying to find something that worked, that I knew I needed to invest more money into a program that would kind of fill in the holes and be consistent and really feed into our English subject that I had neglected so terribly in our first grade year. So that's why I went with BJU Press in the beginning, and I've been so pleased. I really love it. So all good praises about that. I would definitely recommend looking into it. If you can go to a convention, you get a really great discount to having the distance learning. It is more expensive, and I purchased mine at a homeschool convention. So I got that savings from that. They have Facebook groups and stuff. So anyway, just kind of touch base with the BJU Press community and see if you can figure out what those discounts are and if it's something that you can fit into your budget, because it's been such a great resource for us. Math is our other core subject. We've been doing Horizons since we started homeschooling back in kindergarten, and so now we're in Horizons grade 2 for him, and I still have all the good feelings about it. I think the lessons are the perfect length. I think that, let me go back. The lessons are the perfect length in that they're one page front and back. The font is large enough that it's not just teeny tiny print and tons of problems. But I do modify it quite a bit, in that the assignment will give, let's say, 15 or 20 addition problems that are up to the thousands place value, and I will only have my student do like the top row, or we'll just cut it in half, or sometimes I'll only make him do like 3 longhand, and then I'll have him do like 10 on a calculator. So I do modify that portion of it, but I still really love that it does the looping schedule. I don't know, how many videos has it been that I cannot ever remember that name? But I like that it is that like cyclical learning style. And anyway, I have all good feelings about that. So as far as our other subjects are concerned, history, we are still doing BJU Press, but we're not doing the distance learning. I actually have the teacher's manual, and I'm teaching it to my kiddo. And then I supplement it with things that I make, and then I also use some things that I find on Teachers Pay Teachers. So for example, we just did a unit about the early explorers and Christopher Columbus and Ponce de Leon and somebody else, the Vikings guy. Anyway, and so I made like this little lap book thing that he got to do with that. And then if you'll hold on just a second, I'll show you. Okay, so it's right here. This is what I made my little kiddo. And so the little flaps down here are gonna have each of the people. This is just a quick little thing that I threw together. And then I found a picture of them, like a little clip art, and then something else that kind of helped us remember what they were. So he was a Viking, so I put a Viking ship. We marked the route on a map. We talked about where they came from and why they came to America. So I have Leif Erikson, and then we have Christopher Columbus, and then I have Ponce de Leon and how he wanted the Fountain of Youth. So anyway, that was just kind of a fun additive that we added to my student. I did used to have a whole like notebook that I had built to go with his curriculum, but we finished up that because the remainder of our unit study is going to be the 13 colonies, and I found a really awesome resource which we're actually going to be starting next week, which will kind of help us review the northern, the middle, and then the southern colonies. And it's like on a big piece of paper, and I'm really excited to use it. So I'll be sure to show that to you when we get to that in the coming weeks, okay? So I do love that. Our second subject, let's talk about science. Oh man, science. I think I'm gonna have to do like distance learning for science next year because I've done such a poor job at addressing science. We talked about matter. We did a really good job with that. Our second unit was about biomes, and we hit that really well. Our third unit was supposed to be space, I believe, and I just haven't ever got started with it, hence why I still have my landforms or my major biomes on the side here. And then I did have a fourth unit too. I got all of my curriculum. This was a Teachers Pay Teachers resource, and I still do think it was a great resource in helping me kind of outline what I wanted to do for science, but I just have not been consistent. So coming third grade, I'm gonna really have to figure out what I'm gonna do with that. As kind of an addendum or a side note, okay, I'll just throw it in here. My son has shown a lot of interest in Pompeii, and so for the next coming semester, I'm preparing a whole unit study about Pompeii, and it really will be cross-curricular. So I'm kind of excited about that because we'll be able to put some of these other books and curriculum resources aside and do this cross-curricular study of Pompeii as a full unit study. So it will include some science, as we will do the volcano thing. It'll include math as we talk about Roman numerals, and history as we talk about the Romans and Pompeii, of course, in general. There's some reading. There's a Magic Treehouse book about Vacation Under the Volcano is what it's called, which is all about the two kids go to Pompeii. So that'll be a really fun unit study that I'm excited to build, and I'll be sure and share with you when I get there, which I'm not there yet. But so that's kind of something fun coming down the pipeline. Spelling, it's still super rocky. I don't have anything to address about that except that we just kind of aren't doing it at all. I do have it in our loop, and so it gets done once a week, but what's once a week? I don't know. A couple videos back, I did talk about how I was struggling with it, and a comment that I got in from one of my subscribers was really great and encouraging, and from that comment, I've really kind of let loose. And her comment was this like repetitive, like get a list of words, do a bunch of activities, have a test at the end, really is like the public school model of spelling. And there are some curriculums that are less have a list, practice, and have a test that are a lot more phonics based. And so I just haven't invested or researched any of those curriculums, but I really did believe I understood, and I really felt like, okay, I don't want to do this model that I've been doing. I need to find something different. So we're still doing the old model that I just discussed, but I'm kind of in a transition phase that has not been settled yet. So that's spelling. Art, oh, I love it. Okay, so I'm gonna do a video, like an update video about our art curriculum, but I've been doing Evan Moore Teacher how to teach children art. And it's such a fun curriculum. You can kind of see some of our art projects are up here. We just barely started it, but the lessons are super short and the activities are very doable. And it's everything that I already have in my house. And it just starts with lines and it kind of goes from there. Check out that video because I did do kind of a look in the book for that. So again, that's an Evan Moore resource, and it's been so good. Okay. I think that pretty much wraps up everything for my second grader. Let me jump over to my kindergartner and what I've been deciding to do with her. Like I mentioned, she transitioned from pre-kindergarten / preschool work into full-fledged kindergarten work. She had a slow transition in the fall, and then in January, I just decided to start her for sure in kindergarten work. We're really only doing 2 subjects. And then she tags along with her brother when we do history, and she loves to do the art. But the only curriculum that I've got for her is her Horizons kindergarten math. Love it. I loved it when I did it with my son. I still love it now, and she's progressing really well. I went ahead and got her the second book. She did the first book at the beginning of the year. So here in the second half of the year, she started the second book. I think we're like at lesson 83 or something. So that's been a lot of fun. And then number 2 is her English. And if you've been around for a long time, sit down for what I'm about to tell you. But I did decide to go with The Good and the Beautiful kindergarten. They had just put out their revision, and I was watching some other YouTube mamas sharing what it looked like. And I was like, okay, I think that this is what I need. And I was kind of toying with a couple of different curriculum, but I decided to go with The Good and the Beautiful because their price point was perfect. And so I went over to their store and I actually looked through all of their materials, and I just felt really good about it. Something about looking and touching and feeling curriculum is really powerful for me, which is why I make a point to go to curriculum or to go to conventions, homeschool conventions, where there's a good vendor hall, because that's just really powerful for me in how I select and choose a curriculum. So I went over to their store, I looked at all of their stuff, and I decided to go with The Good and the Beautiful kindergarten revised material. So I think it's like the second revision. Is that the term that they use? I don't know. Holy love. I love it so much. And I know that a lot of mamas out there have already been using The Good and the Beautiful and talk about how much they love it, but I did not love it. I tried their science. I still cannot bring myself to do their science units. It just isn't my teaching style, and I really struggle with it. I looked into their original level 1, which is free online. You can check it out yourself. And again, I've even told my subscribers when they ask, like, how do you feel about The Good and the Beautiful? I have videos just from here to the beginning that are like, I can't do The Good and the Beautiful because it's not my teaching style. I'm eating my words now, because this curriculum for the kindergarten level, I cannot speak for the other levels as I have not done them, but the kindergarten level has changed how I feel like I'm doing in my daughter's education. I feel so much more like it's just a good comprehensive. The lesson sizes are excellent. They've revised it, so now each, like, in the first version, it would just say, read this book 3 times eventually. And it was kind of confusing as the teacher, but now they just have the lesson mapped out where it's like, okay, on this day, these are the things you're gonna do. Check the boxes. Have your child read this mini book for the first time. And then a couple lessons later, have them read it for the second time. Oh man, ladies and gentlemen, can I give them a praise? And their price point is amazing. So no, this is not a sponsored video, but they have changed my girls' curriculum, and I was struggling because when I did it with my son, English with my son, I did Horizons, and it was choppy clear through today when I started doing BJU Press. So I give a huge shout out to my daughter's curriculum now, The Good and the Beautiful kindergarten, and it's the revised version, which is, I'm sure, the only version you can purchase today. But just be careful, because if you do look for some used curriculum, I'm sure there's some mamas out there who have graduated their kindergarten worlds and are offering that at a discounted price. It is different. but it's good, and I'm sure that you will find a value in it. But my experience and my passion behind my words come from their revised version. I think it's like the second revision. If I'll show you right here, I've got it in her little folder thing. I'll just show you the cover just so that you can know if you're ever going out. I think it probably looks the same, but it's the Level K course book. And I think it was, this is the 3rd edition, okay? 3rd edition, released in 2019, okay? So who knows when you're watching this video, I'm sure in coming years, they'll probably revise it and make it better because she has some really great staff that have made this a remarkable, remarkable resource. In fact, I'm gonna do a more in-depth review of my experience with The Good and the Beautiful Level K course book, and I'll give you all the details with that. So anyway, those are the only 2 things that I'm doing with my daughter. Those are some big changes over the last several weeks that we've done just with our systems and processes. Things are moving and shaking over here. So check back here in the next coming weeks, and I'll make sure and give you guys a better update a little bit sooner. I have taken several weeks off. I think even like maybe a couple months off from my channel just to kind of, recoup and focus on the things that are of most importance. But I'm excited to share with you some additional upcoming videos. I've mentioned a few of them here in this video. So make sure you subscribe to my channel if you're not already subscribed. And to all of you who are subscribed, thank you for sticking around, and hopefully you're finding some valuable content as I do try to provide something, a little bit of experience, a little bit of inspiration maybe to help you on your homeschool journey over there. So anyway, thanks so much for watching, guys, and we'll catch you in my other videos. Bye.